I got a soft spot for little kids, man. So after being a dad, man, I look at puppies and kids and I just get all like mushy and inside and like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I took the meeting anyway. I said, let me just meet her. And
beautiful
when
girl.
I met her that day, I knew she was a star. Like, just her look, the way she walked into a room and her confidence, and she performed in my office.
And she was, what, 17 years old at that point?
She was 16.
16.
Belts out of tune, she performs, and I tell her, there's no way out of this office. I signed her that day.
Did he call you or did he see you in person?
He seen some little ASAP back in the day. He seen like ASAP Bari and he called them to the side like, yo, come here, yo. Like, let me holla at y'all. Like, my first song is out. I don't even know. He know them. So he like, yo, your man's like, what's up with that line? Like,
there are two ways to leave here. Either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor. So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing. Yeah.
The audience is so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know if Tyra was trying to get that on the record, but my God, what Jaguar? He threatened her. This is her own words coming out of her mouth. And she was a kid at that time, correct?
A 15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building.
So we just set up a meeting with Jay-Z. I met with him.
Were you nervous in the meeting?
What? Nervous is an understatement.
Yeah, sure.
I was a mess.
A$AP Rocky is finally breaking his silence on rumors that Jay-Z did something foul to young Rihanna. And let's just say Rocky is not the one to bow down to Jay like the rest of these rappers. In case you missed it, Jay-Z is getting exposed like never before. And word on the street is that he might be under federal investigation for something shockingly similar to what his friend Diddy is being accused of. And get this, Rihanna's name is all up in the mix. So Rihanna's former publicist, Jonathan Hay, recently aired out some serious claims about Jay-Z's relationship with Riri back when she was just starting out. And if you thought those old rumors about them having an affair were bad, this is next level. Hay straight up said it wasn't an affair. It was Jay-Z allegedly trying to control a young Rihanna and use her as some kind of pawn in the industry. And get this, according to Hay, the FBI actually approached him to ask if he knew something about Jay-Z and his pattern of getting involved with much younger ladies. But it doesn't stop there. An old Rihanna interview has resurfaced where she talked about Jay-Z making creepy, threatening comments when they first met. Back then, people brushed it off as Jay's sense of humor. But now, in light of all these new allegations, it's looking way more sinister. And now sources close to A$AP Rocky are saying he went off when he found out what Jay allegedly did to Rihanna. So could we see a full-blown fallout between Rocky and Jay-Z? What exactly do we know about Jay's relationship with teenage Rihanna? Let's get into this.
Jay-Z in New York. Subsequently, Rihanna, at age 16, was flown from Barbados to New York for a meeting with Jay-Z, which lasted from midnight until 3 a.m. During this meeting, Jay-Z allegedly pressured Rihanna into signing a recording contract, telling her, "There's only two ways out the door or through this window."
So to give you some context first, back in 2005, a 16-year-old Rihanna flew from Barbados to New York without her parents to audition for Jay-Z. And he was so blown away that he signed her right then and there. But here's the wild part. According to Rihanna, that meeting started around 3 or 4 p.m. and stretched until the early hours of the next day. And that's not all. Rihanna later said that Jay-Z made a weird joke during the meeting about throwing her out of a 29th floor window if she didn't sign the contract.
But then he said something about a window and a door. Oh, then he said, you did it homework. I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady. He said, there are two ways to leave here. Either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor. So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
But even if Jay really was just joking about the whole window comment, it's still completely out of pocket. Like, why would a grown man say something like that to a 16-year-old girl who's young enough to be his daughter? And Rihanna was there alone. No parents or guardians in sight, and Jay-Z was in this huge position of power. He literally held the key to her entire career and basically made her feel like she had no choice but to do what he wanted. So of course, Rihanna signed the contract, and soon after, Jay-Z and his team got to work on on her debut album, Music of the Sun. But shortly after Music of the Sun dropped, rumors started swirling that Rihanna and Jay-Z were having an affair. It was all over the place. Headlines, gossip blogs, you name it. And while Rihanna's former publicist, Jonathan Hay, later claimed that he completely made up the affair rumor just to build hype for Riri's breakout single Upon the Replay, it now turns out he wasn't telling the whole story. We'll talk about Jonathan in a second, but let me first tell you about Beyonce's alleged reaction to those affair rumors. So apparently Beyonce didn't just brush off those affair rumors. She actually believed them. And according to some insiders, she may have even tried to derail Rihanna's career. The songwriting duo Theron and Timothy Thomas, aka R City, claimed they originally wrote the hit song Bow Down for Rihanna, but somehow Beyonce swooped in and snatched the track for herself. One of the brothers even admitted he'd never met Beyonce and was specifically crafting Bow Down with Rihanna in mind. So how did Queen Bey end up with it? Well, that's the million-dollar question. And here's where it gets interesting. Shortly after Bow Down dropped, Rihanna threw some shade at Bey and wrote on Twitter, "I only know how to be number one. I could use a challenge. How'd that feel down there on your knees, huh?" And then around the same time, someone really close to the situation dropped a bombshell, saying that Beyonce was feeling super insecure and even got Jay-Z to leak Rihanna's 8th album, Anti, before its official release. According to The Insider, Beyonce wanted to make sure Rihanna's debut album didn't steal the spotlight from her own hit song, Formation. And just when you thought this story couldn't get any crazier, new reports surfaced claiming the feds have already started questioning people from Rihanna's team about Jay-Z's alleged inappropriate relationship with her during her early days at Def Jam. So remember that publicist Jonathan Hay who claimed he faked the Jay-Z and Rihanna affair rumors? Well, he's back spilling even more tea. This time about a YouTube documentary that's dragging Jay-Z into more messy drama. The documentary, called The Disturbing Death of Jay-Z's Mistress, dropped back in July on the Trap Law Ross channel, and it dives deep into the mysterious 2011 death of 28-year-old model Kathy Corey White, who was rumored to be Jay-Z's side chick. Kathy passed away from what was officially called a brain aneurysm, but the circumstances surrounding her death are raising a lot of eyebrows. Now let's talk about that publicist Jonathan Hay. After his name popped up in the Trap Law Ross documentary about Kathy White, Hay hit Instagram with some cryptic messages, hinting that there's even more tea we don't know. And then he spilled the full story to All Hip Hop and admitted he was frustrated back then because his efforts to get Rihanna on MTV News weren't going anywhere. Meanwhile, Jay-Z seemed more focused on other artists like Tiara Marie and some up-and-coming rapper named Lady Sovereign. On top of that, Jay-Z was taking public shots at Emil, who had stepped away from the industry to raise her kids. So all of this had Hay feeling some type of way, and his resentment toward Jay-Z was definitely bubbling over. Hay said, "I started to get desperate and I was so angry with Jay-Z as he was more focused on Tiara Marie, and there was all this talk that he was pursuing a rapper named Lady Sovereign, who he ended up signing months later. Not to mention Jay-Z was constantly dissing Emil, who had quit the music industry and was living in North Carolina at the time, raising her children." But things took a much darker turn after that. Hay says federal agents approached him claiming that they were investigating Jay-Z over some serious allegations. They brought up Jay's past violent incidents like the stabbing of Lance Rivera and that infamous fight with R. Kelly during the tour. But that's not all. According to Jonathan Hay, the feds hinted that Jay-Z may have been involved in inappropriate behavior with much younger women, and they questioned Hay about Jay's relationship with Rihanna when she was under 18. And get this, Hay claims that the agents told him the allegations about Jay-Z and young women stretched across international borders. And despite Hay telling the feds he made up the affair story, they weren't buying it. Hay then finally confessed that it was Jay-Z's team who allegedly pressured him to publicly take all the blame for the rumor, promising they'd promote his other clients on Tidal in return. But Hay claims they never fulfilled that promise. And if you thought this story couldn't get any messier, Jaguar Wright is back with more bombshell claims, and this time she's dragging Rihanna's name deeper into the drama. In a new interview on Popcorn Planet, Jaguar was asked about that viral clip of Rihanna saying Jay-Z threatened to throw her out of a window during their first meeting, and she alleged that the old rumors about Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce with Rihanna weren't just rumors, they were the real deal. And according to Jaguar Wright, Rihanna might not be the only one Jay's allegedly mistreated over the years.
So he said there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor. So you was like, "Where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing." Yeah.
The audience is so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know if Tyra was trying to get that on the record, but my God, what Jaguar? He threatened her. This is her own words coming out of her mouth, and she was a kid at that time, correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. And the 6 hours that she spent with him and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and
this isn't her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was
Very
17
so.
Is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
Have
had
you
to
spoken
apologize.
to my friend Jonathan Hay? You should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Pon the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around and she's it's cool.
Now, as for Jonathan Hay initially claiming he made up those rumors about Jay-Z and Rihanna, Jaguar pointed out that Jonathan actually admitted he did it in exchange for some perks at Tidal. But here's where it gets crazier. Jaguar claims that when Jonathan later had a change of heart and decided to speak out, things took a dark turn. She says they allegedly threatened him and even staged a home invasion to intimidate him into staying quiet.
They had to debunk that. Oh, we apologize. It wasn't real. We made it up in hopes of giving her single a boost.
Yeah, they
Like,
promised
what?
Jonathan a deal working at Tidal and something, and then they reneged. And then the next thing you know, he was caught in a home invasion robbery while he was working on the Drake secret baby mama story,
Jeez.
Sophie. He was duct taped him and his daughter, and he was pow whipped in front of his child. So, there's a lot that goes on in the backdrop.
And then Jaguar also brought up Rihanna throwing up the Rockefeller sign during her 2023 Super Bowl performance. And she alleged that Rihanna might still be afraid of Jay-Z, which could explain why she hasn't said anything about all these recent allegations.
PTSD, you made a comment about this. Like, this was from the Super Bowl appearance more recently. This bothered you, seeing her put the Rockefeller's logo out there.
If you
what was
go
your
back
instinct to that?
and watch, it was almost as if she didn't want to put her hands up, and then she looked over where Jay-Z's box was, and then you just see her hand. She look at her. She's looking at his box. She didn't want to do it. She didn't even want to do that gig. But the hold, especially the financial hold with the companies and all of the money and all of the strings that he pulled to. He treats these women like shell corporations.
So when we put all the pieces together, it's starting to seem like Jay-Z's past is filled with some really questionable behavior, especially with all these allegations about him having inappropriate relationships with younger women. And it's wild to think that Jay-Z, who had longtime friendships with R. Kelly and Diddy, would now try to take the high road morally. In response to the lawsuit filed by Tony Busby on behalf of Jane Doe, who claims she was 13 when Jay-Z and Diddy allegedly raped her, Jay-Z put out a statement saying, "I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain." But even if the allegations in this Jane Doe lawsuit turn out to be false, what about Foxy Brown? What about the fact that Jay-Z continued to work with R. Kelly after he knew about what R. Kelly did to Aaliyah when she was just 13 or 14? Where was this so-called strict code and honor back then? So with this whole Jay-Z and Rihanna situation unraveling in front of our eyes, how does Riri's life partner A$AP Rocky feel about all this? Well, sources close to Rocky are saying he's furious and disgusted by the allegations. And allegedly, he's ready to go off and throw some serious shots at Jay-Z. Insiders close to Rocky say he wants to publicly call out Jay and let everyone know how he feels about what's been going on with Rihanna. But according to sources, the only thing stopping Rocky from going full throttle is Rihanna herself. She's apparently trying to keep the peace, worried that all this extra drama will just bring her more pain. And on top of that, she's concerned about what this mess might do to her sons when they get older and have to see all this unfold in the media. But what's your take on this? Do you believe these allegations against Jay-Z, and do you think A$AP Rocky should step in and say something, or should he just stay quiet to protect Riri's peace? Drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and don't miss out on this next video.